Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm IGONYI HOPE. So on this week's video, we'll be sewing a two-piece dress. So I will insert the instructions of how to achieve those patterns, and it has a detail on the side which is a flap, and I hope you guys will enjoy. So keep on watching to see how we are going to achieve this dress, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share it, and also subscribe to my channel. So let's get right into this video. So at this point I was preparing to sew my interfacing on the front piece, where I had to face them, the right sides facing each other, so that I can end up sewing on the wrong side and later on turn it to the inner side of the bodice and do some top stitching on it so that my neckline will look neat and also lie well. So I pinned so that everything could lie well, so that I can take everything to the machine. So at this point I was just sewing it at a seam allowance of 1 centimeter. So remember to reinforce when you begin sewing and also at the end of your sewing process. So when I reached at my center front, I pivoted my needle and raised the footer and later turned it so that I can achieve a V neckline and continued till the end of the neckline. So also remember to snip the point that you pivoted the needle so that when you're top stitching on the facing will lie properly when it's turned in the inside part. So you have to snip like the whole of the neckline and later turn it and do your top stitching and turn it to the inside part. So at this point I stitched my center back because I had cut my pieces. I didn't cut my pieces on fold, so I had to join my back piece at a seam allowance of 1 inch and reinforced the beginning and also at the end of the body. So I also ended up joining my facings at the center back as well so that I can join together the back bodies to the back facing and do the same thing that you did for the front facing. And also remember to top stitch and also snip before top stitching. Okay, what I mean is you have to snip it before you top stitch, and remember also to iron it so that everything can look good. So this is what I meant. So here I was pinning my facing on my back bodice and ensuring that the center backs match, and then you stitch at a seam allowance of 1 centimeter all the way through. at this point I was matching my shoulder points so that I can be able to stitch the shoulder area. So I was actually pinning to make sure that everything is in line so that I can stitch it well. So you just stitch it to the same allowance that you added, and my allowance was about 1/2 inch. So I was pinning, and then later on take it to my machine and stitch at a seam allowance of 1/2 inch all the way through. At this point I was preparing my flap, whereby I had to sew the sides of the flap and also the bottom part of the flap, and where I left a space of like 3 inches where I could be able to turn my flap inside out. So basically my flap was just a normal rectangle. I cannot remember the dimensions that I used, but it's just a basic triangle depending on how you want your flap to go on the front and the back side. So I stitched it at a seam allowance of 1 centimeter all the way, and later turned it in the inside part and ironed it so that it could look good and also attractive. So at this point I was attaching my waistband to the bodice. So this was my side seam. I was just pinning it so that it could be in line with the waistband. So I had 2 waistbands where I ended up sandwiching the bodice and also the flap, and stitched just a straight line all the way, and also remember to reinforce while starting and while finishing up. That my zip will be on the side, I also had to sew my center back for the skirt. So here I was just sewing at a seam allowance of 1 inch all the way from the bottom to the top, or from the top to the bottom. this point I was pinning my side seam for the bottom piece, which is the skirt, and also my allowance was an inch. Yeah, so I just pinned everything well and took it to my machine and stitched at an allowance of 1 inch. So here I ironed my center back so that it could look well, and also it will be neat on the right side while you see it. So you just iron it well, and that will be it for that part. So I ended up losing my footage for the last part of the sewing, but all I did was attach the skirt at the waistband, attached my zip, and also attached my sleeves, and also did my overlock on the inside part so that it could have a clean finish, and ironed it well. And that was it for that sewing tutorial. Thank you so much guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a comment down below and also subscribe. So see you on my next video. Bye guys.